One of the easiest ways to waste time when it comes to starting your career or finding your next brokerage is not getting clear answers to some very important questions. In this video, Jon goes over 8 questions that you should be asking every single brokerage that you interview, and why transparency matters, and what it could leave you with if you don't get clear answers to these questions. Without further ado, let's find out what questions are going to help you grow, profit, and not leave you in litigation nightmare.
Hey YouTube, this is Jon Brooks. I'm the co-founder of Momentum Realty, and today I'd love to come on and share with you more information about independent contractor agreements in the real estate sales profession. It's super important if you're starting your career or even an experienced agent to understand what the terms are in your contract. So today I just wrote a quick list of information that you should be looking for in your independent contractor agreement so that there's no surprises down the line and you're able to have all the information so you can make the best decision for you and your family. So let's take a look. The number one thing that you want to look out for in your independent contractor agreement is if you have fixed hours in real estate sales as a real estate agent. Does your independent contractor agreement actually say you need to be at this location during this time, during these hours, etc., during the day for you to be part of their organization or part of their team? This actually might be an employment law issue if there are requirements, because there's very big difference between an independent contractor and an employment agreement. So the first thing you want to do is, I'm not an attorney, so you probably want to get an attorney to review it. If there's any sort of language in there that says you need to be in the office from this hour to this hour, you need to be doing these activities from this hour to this hour, that actually might be an employment agreement, and that will determine whether or not you pay employment taxes yourself or if the company that you're working for pays for employment taxes. Another thing that you want to be on the lookout for is to figure out, are there things that your team or your company wants you to do that you do not want to do? So for example, one would be, hey, before you get any sort of lead source from our company, we require you to reach out to your friends and family and get a bunch of reviews on our website, things like that. That would be something for you to say, okay, let me look at this. This is a red flag. Another thing is that you want to ask immediately if there's going to be a high turnover ratio at the company. How many people who sign these independent contractor agreements actually go out there and produce at a high level? What is their income? What does their dollar per hour look like? What does their lifestyle look like? And then what is the longevity of a real estate professional in your company? Huge question to ask. Because these are what you're ultimately looking for. When you got into the real estate sales business, you are looking to become a top producer, make some income, live a really great lifestyle, have a high dollar per hour, and really serve the community. So these are the type of questions that you want to ask up front. You also want to ask the number one the number one value in any sort of sales organization is your database. If you were to leave the company, what happens with the leads that were generated during your time there? Does the team own them or do you own them? Is that the case for team generated leads? Is that the case for self-generated leads, your referrals in your database? And if you're not allowed to talk to those people, for how long? What type of splits do you have to pay your former team if you leave? This is the number one issue, hands down, in the marketplace for agents joining teams or other organizations. Likewise, even if you're not joining a team, you're joining a brokerage, you want to look at the termination clause really closely. We've had hundreds of agents join our company. I get to see some of these contracts, at least the ones that don't have non-disclosure agreements, and I'm able to say, okay, if you leave, they're going to take 50% of all your outstanding commissions, which can actually add up to tens of thousands of dollars. Why is this penalty in there? Are you able to negotiate with the owner of that company to say, hey, this does not sound good? Another huge red flag on top of agent commissions that when you terminate, they just basically keep all the commission or a higher percentage. A non-disclosure agreement. If there's a non-disclosure agreement in your contract for any reason, you want to get in touch with an attorney, and you may consider just running the other way. If there is a limit of speech of what you can do and you're not leadership, you're just an average, you're just an independent contractor, and they're saying, look, you're not allowed to talk about any of your experience here or any other information, that is a massive, massive red flag for you. And this is where you should start digging into what's the turnover ratio. And you should absolutely ask the question, have you ever, or are you in any current litigation with any other independent contractor at your company in the past few years? This will give you a clue to what is going on in the company and why the independent contractor agreement is structured in a certain way. Ultimately, at the end of the day, the best thing you can do is figure out who owns the database, what happens when you get terminated to the commission structure, and if there's an NDA agreement. Those are the biggest risks in the contract. So be sure, please, if you're entering the industry, to go ahead and get an attorney to review it so you understand your options. And if you're just joining a regular brokerage, you're not joining a team, there's still clauses in those agreements that would surprise you. So do your diligence. Momentum has specifically posted our independent contractor agreement online, so you have the time to review it with your attorney and make the best decision for you and your family, because we do not like surprises. We want to be fully transparent on what you're getting into and why. So please, please, please do your diligence. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. I can get you in touch with somebody who also might have the experience to be able to give you some advice. Thank you so much. Thanks for listening. Talk soon.